Find yourself a quiet corner, take a sip of warm coffee, and join me in a gentle story. Let the noise of the world fade away for a while, and allow your heart to welcome a little peace. It was a winter evening when I stepped out of the office, my whole body weighed down with exhaustion. The sun had long set, and on the way home, street lamps flickered on, their golden glow spreading across the damp pavement. The chilly air made me hunch my shoulders, my hands buried deep in my coat pockets. My mind was tangled with endless thoughts and finished deadlines, tense meetings, worries that seemed to have no answers. But as soon as I entered my old apartment building, a strange calm began to settle inside me. The place was worn down paint, peeling from the walls, wooden stairs creaking with every step, but it was familiar, comforting even. Each creak beneath my feet echoed softly, like a quiet rhythm reminding me that, no matter how chaotic life was outside, here I could breathe a little slower. I paused halfway up the stairs, closing my eyes for a moment. The faint smell of aged wood, the lingering scent of tea from someone's apartment, all of it wrapped around me like an invisible blanket. My heartbeat steadied. I whispered to myself, another long day has passed. Maybe all I need is a moment of peace. When I reached the top of the stairs, my eyes caught something. A small lamp, old and dusty, yet still glowing warmly. Its golden light spilled gently across the walls, softening the darkness. Somehow, that faint glow stirred something deep inside me. I moved closer, staring at every crack, every dust speck clinging to the glass, and suddenly, memories washed over me. I remembered the candle flickering in my childhood classroom during power outages, the warm glow of a street lamp on a rainy night, or a simple message from a loved one when loneliness felt overwhelming. Each time, light, no matter how small, had reminded me that I wasn't completely lost. This lamp was the same, silent, persistent, quietly shining in the darkness. I closed my eyes and breathed deeply, letting its light seep into me, filling spaces I didn't realize were empty. The small lamp continued to glow as I leaned closer, and that was when I noticed something unusual. Beneath the lamp, on one of the wooden steps, lay a small worn-out wooden box. Its surface was rough, with scratches from time, yet there was something inviting about it, as if it had been waiting for someone to open it. Curiosity stirred within me. I reached out, carefully lifting the box. It felt heavier than I expected, and when I opened the lid, a faint scent of paper, ink, and time itself drifted out. Inside were dozens of folded letters, some yellowed with age, some still crisp as if they had been written only yesterday. If you are reading this, perhaps you too are tired. I just want to tell you that it's okay to rest. Even if the world seems heavy, you don't have to carry it all alone. With trembling hands, I picked up the first letter. The handwriting was uneven but heartfelt. My chest tightened. I placed the letter back gently and opened another. I once sat on these stairs, feeling as though my life had no meaning. But one evening, I looked up at this little lamp and realized it had been shining all along, no matter if anyone noticed it or not. I want to be like that lamp, quietly shining, even in my own small way. I swallowed hard, my eyes blurring. The more letters I read, the more I realized they were not just words. They were pieces of countless lives, little fragments of courage, hope, and vulnerability, all gathered here beneath a simple lamp. Some letters spoke of heartbreak, others of loss, but many carried encouragement. To whoever finds this box, please know, pain is not permanent. One day you'll smile again, even if you don't believe it now. I held the letters close, feeling as though a chorus of strangers' voices was whispering to me, telling me I wasn't alone. These were not grand stories, not extraordinary tales. They were ordinary people's truths, written in fragile moments, left behind as gifts for those who came after. For a long while, I sat there, surrounded by the quiet stairwell, reading one letter after another. My exhaustion softened, as if each word was gently untangling the knots in my chest. At last, I placed the letters carefully back into the box and closed the lid. I rested my hand on it for a moment, silently thanking all those unseen friends who had left behind their pieces of light. I stayed on the stairs for a while, my back leaning against the cool wooden wall, the closed box resting gently on my lap. The little lamp above me hummed faintly, as if breathing along with me. In that quiet space, I began to reflect. Life often rushes us forward. We chase deadlines, ambitions, responsibilities, all while carrying invisible burdens. And yet, here on these stairs, time seemed to pause. The letters reminded me that suffering and healing are part of the same journey, intertwined. I thought of my own struggles, the nights I lay awake, replaying conversations in my mind, the days I dragged myself through work, feeling like a shadow. At those times, I believed no one could understand what I was going through. But the voices in these letters told me otherwise. People I had never met, people from different walks of life, had written down pieces of their hearts. And somehow, their words reached across time to comfort me. Perhaps healing does not come from solving every problem. Perhaps healing begins when we realize we are not alone, when we see that our pain is shared, and that even in the darkest night, there are lights, small, ordinary lights that guide us forward. I looked again at the lamp. It was not beautiful. Dust covered its frame, and the glass was scratched. Yet none of that diminished its glow. In fact, it seemed even more meaningful because of its imperfections. And then, it struck me. People are like this lamp. We may carry scars, cracks, and flaws, but those do not erase our worth. If anything, they make our light more real, more human. I remembered something a friend once told me. You don't have to shine for everyone. Sometimes, it's enough to shine for just one person, even if that person is yourself. For a moment, I closed my eyes and let the thought settle deep within me. I had spent so much of my life trying to be strong for others, trying to meet expectations, trying to be enough. But perhaps, like the lamp, my role was simply to keep shining, quietly, in my own way. The box of letters reminded me of something else, too, that kindness leaves ripples. A stranger who wrote a note years ago could not have known that, one day, I would sit here and find solace in their words. And maybe someday, my own words could bring comfort to someone else. The realization filled me with both humility and gratitude. Healing was not just something I sought for myself. It was something we shared, passed along like light from one candle to another. I sat there until the chill of the stairs crept into my body, but even then, I did not want to leave. The quiet was comforting, and the lamp's soft glow seemed to hold me in a gentle embrace. Finally, I whispered to myself, I will carry this light with me, and when I can, I will leave a light for others too. I gently closed the small box and placed it back on the stair, just beneath the glowing lamp. A long breath escaped me, light and calm, as if I had just finished a quiet journey. Not a journey across distance, but a journey inward, a return to myself. The lamp still shone, steady and unwavering. It wasn't dazzling, yet its glow was enough to soften the shadows around it. And in that moment, I understood. Perhaps each of us is like this lamp. We don't need to light up the whole world. Sometimes it's enough to hold on to a small glow, steady and true, so that someone lost in the dark might find their way again. I stood up slowly, letting my eyes wander across the old stairwell. The walls were cracked, the doors worn, the wood carried the weight of years. But all of it felt beautiful, not because it was flawless, but because it held the stories of those who had passed through, the echoes of countless lives. Before leaving, I turned back one last time. The lamp still burned. The little box rested quietly, waiting for the next soul who might stumble upon it. Someone searching for hope, someone needing to hear that they were not alone. When I stepped outside, the night air was sharp and cold, brushing against my skin. Yet inside, I felt a warmth that no winter wind could take away. The words I had read lingered like gentle hands, steadying me, holding me. As I walked home, I thought about the strangers who had once sat where I had sat. Perhaps they had cried there. Perhaps they had felt despair pressing down on them, but they chose to leave behind their words. Small pieces of courage, small flames of hope, and because of that choice, I, a stranger they would never meet, had found comfort tonight. I knew then that the circle would continue. One day, I would write my own letter, tuck it into that little box, and leave it beneath the lamp. Someone, someday, would open it and feel less alone just as I had. When I reached home, I brewed myself a cup of tea and sat quietly by the window. The night was still deep, but the heaviness inside me had lifted. I held on to a quiet truth. As long as I kept my own inner light alive, even the smallest spark, I would be okay. Softly, almost like a prayer, I whispered, "Thank you," for reminding me that even in the darkest night, a single lamp can still shine. Life doesn't always need grand gestures to be meaningful. Sometimes it's the smallest things: a warm light, a handwritten note, a moment to breathe that bring us peace. And within each of us, there is a lamp. Keep it burning for yourself and for others who may one day need it. Thank you for giving a precious moment of your time to listen to my story. If you have a happy moment or a life lesson you'd like to share with everyone, you can send it to me and I'll tell it for you. If this story has touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to Healing Storybox, where we continue to walk together through gentle stories that bring comfort and light.